I was about to say, it sounds like it's coming down off the spin now,
but
so
then
you should be all right.
Hi guys, welcome to Irish Footy Vlogs. Welcome to another First Division preview video. We've more games in the First Division today. We've got 5 games on Friday, actually. They're all on Friday, which is great to see. Philip, we'll start off with Cork City and Bray Wanderers at Turner's Cross. And, we talked about how Cork City managed to get in the score sheet last week, but then they decided to let in a few goals. How do you see this one going against the Seasiders?
It's going to be a very tight game, Keith, actually, to be honest with you. I think Bray just going through the motions a bit. Do you know what I mean? They got result there. They've had a couple of mixed results over the past couple of weeks. And
yeah,
I don't know. I just think Cork, I don't know, with how they've been defensively, it's not been great viewing, so I personally think it's going to be a draw, Keith, because I have thought about this game, because it is kind of one that it can actually go either way with how both teams have been playing lately. Cork have got a couple now as well, but as we said, in the past couple of games, they've got a couple of goals, but then they've started leaking goals, which isn't good. And I suppose if Bray tend to lose, they tend to concede a couple. So I don't know. I think it's going to be a very tight game, and I don't know if Gary Shaw's back for Bray. He's been really struggling to get fit this year. If he's back, he'll obviously play a big part in the game. But I'm going to go with draw, Keith. I'm going to say it's going to be a 1-1 draw. I just think both teams can't rely defensively on their back four and their goalkeepers. So it's going to set up for a good game.
Yeah, interestingly, Brave kind of changed their system of play the last few weeks. I'm not really sure why exactly, but we spoke how Joe Doyle has been amongst the goals. Ryan Graydon will be back as well, so that'll give them a bit of impetus out wide, I'd imagine, because that's his best position. Sometimes he plays up front, but he's a better winger. And 9 points between them in the table, Daz, in favour of Bray. What's your thoughts?
I actually think Bray are going to win this pretty comfortably. They have a few standout individuals that you just went through there that Cork just simply don't have. Cork player for player against Bray are much better, I think, in my opinion. The gap in the league is an awful lot bigger. That shows throughout the season. Yeah. Bray has been a lot more consistent. Cork are way down there in Division 1. They're way down there. They're not playing well this season at all. They're leaking goals. They can't hold on to wins. They've got a few bad eggs in the team as well. They don't really have that many. They don't actually have any individual player that stands out that could take a goal, in my opinion. I think Bray should go down there, and I think it should win this comfortably, in my opinion, anyway.
Yeah, I agree. I think Bray should be looking to win the game. Do you know what I mean? Like, really feeling confident about going down to Turner's Cross and win the game. It's very hard to actually predict Cork to actually get 3 points in most games, if we're honest about it. Like, just because they're so unpredictable as well. And for me, I think Bray should have too much in most areas, like you said, Daz. And I'm going to go for Bray to take the points back to County Wicklow, because Bray is in Wicklow, guys. On to Cabinteely and I'll tell you later. On to Cabinteely and Athlone Town. And of course, Cabinteely seem to be better away from home than they are home. But look, they got to see this, Philip, as an opportunity to beat Athlone, a side that were very fortunate to draw 4-4 with Wexford last week. I know they've brought in a couple of young players as well, but they're not big marquee names. So how do you see this one?
Yeah, to be honest, Keith, you can't look past them, can you? In my opinion, Athlone have just been brutal the last couple of months, and just, again, they were very fortunate to get a result against a very inexperienced Wexford side on the weekend. You can't look past them. I'm going to say they're going to do this quite comfortably, to be honest with you. I just look at Athlone at the minute, and I don't see any players that are, like, do you know what I mean? They have a couple of heads in there that with a bit of experience, but they're not stepping up to the plate, do you know what I mean? So, yeah, I'm going to go 3 or 4-0. I just can't see Athlone scoring. I can't see them getting anywhere near the opposition's goal at the minute and scored. And those chances, as we said previously, Keith, they were in games that they were losing, but they were creating chances. But if you look back over the highlights, it's just completely dried up. It doesn't look like they're going to score, even though they scored 4 against Wexford.
That game aside, you could say.
Yeah, if you go and look back on it, they've been really, really poor. So I'm going to go 4-0. Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose the only issue is Cabo struggle to score goals, don't they? They literally don't score many goals at all. I think it's 13 this season. But those two players that Athlone brought in are Gary Comerford and Ray O'Sullivan. Gary apparently is a versatile midfielder, defender, who played for Cork, Cove and Waterford. Ray's a young defender who joins, having last played with Wolves Academy. So they sound like they're kind of more squad players, in my opinion, compared to the players they actually do have at the club. How do you see this one going, Daz?
Yeah, look, like what Philip said, I think it's going to be a Cabinteely win. I don't think they're going to win like 4-0. I think it'll be a 1 or 2-0 Cabinteely win. A lot of people will be looking at the result against Wexford and saying they did very well to come back. And yes, they did do very well to come back. But disrespect to Wexford, they're probably the most leakiest defence in both leagues. You're just not going to score that kind of goals against any other team, in my opinion. Even the goalkeeper was brutal for them goals. They came back a fair play to Athlone, but they're not going to have a comfortable against Cabinteely. Cabinteely are better away from home, like you said. They will go there. And I think they will win 2-0. I don't think it'll be 4. I think it'll be 2. But wouldn't surprise me either if Athlone nicked the goal. And, because they are scoring goals. But look, I think it's going to be a Cabinteely easy enough win for them. It's interesting to see where Athlone are on the table. They were doing really well at the start of the season, and now it's kind of dwindling a little bit down, and their form kind of was dipping up and down. So mid-table, that's an okay finish for them. But yeah, look, I think it's going to be a Cabinteely comfortable win for them.
I'm going to go for a draw because I still don't trust Cabinteely at Stradbrook. They don't win enough games there, and I don't see too many goals in them either. So maybe 1-1, I think. Galway United take on Cove, and Galway are flying, obviously. Eamon DC Park, second in the league in 25 points, 4 wins in a row, 4 clean sheets in a row. Cove Ramblers, it's hard to look at Cove Ramblers and have an opinion on where they might be going. I know they do a lot of great work down there off the field, and if you go and check Lewis Shaw's League of Ireland fan group, by the way, there's a plug for him, you'll notice nearly every couple of days there's some great stuff being done at Cove, isn't there, sponsors or whatever it is. But in terms of results and getting into the playoffs, it's starting to look like it's going to be very difficult, isn't it, Philip?
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I would like to see them get in there, but you look around and the caliber of opponents that they play week in, week out. Anytime they play anyone above them, you're just like, they don't have the squad to do it. Now, sometimes they can come out and pull out a result against a big club, but again, just they don't have that quality there. You know what I mean? They've done well though with their recruitment in terms of what they've been able to bring in from. You've kind of chatted about this previously, Keith, about their recruitment in the Munster division. I think you were saying
Munster Senior League, yeah.
They bring in a few players from there, and they've done okay. And look, let's be honest, I think they're having a good season, Keith. From where they sit, they might probably fancy themselves to get in there with the development that they've got going on. But I still think it's a bit too early to get into a playoff spot. I think maybe another year, if they can hang on to players, because that's a thing that they've struggled to do as well, holding on to their bodies and not having to start again from scratch. So I don't know. Like if you look at where they have been over the past few years, they'd be okay with it. But I suppose this is going to be a really difficult game for them. Galway are coming into it off the back of some really, really good performances, and I just can't look past them, to be honest with you. There was at one stage there last year this year, where we were saying you can't say what Galway are going to do, but just over the last few weeks they've looked really, really good. And I suppose I think they're going to continue this and just consolidate that playoff spot, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no doubt. John Caulfield will be looking for another clean sheet as well. And Cove Ramblers actually have the second worst defensive record in the league, so Wexford have the worst. So that's telling a little story for them as well, isn't it?
It's showing the quality at the back isn't great, and that they're conceding every game really that they play. But not only that, they're conceding very silly goals as well. They're conceding from set pieces. They're conceding from not even necessarily individual errors. It's kind of team mistakes, which is a bit worse because that's a bit more hard to correct than individuals. But I have to say, I have a soft spot for Cove. I've been down there a few times. They've got some great people down there. They do great work with the community down there. They have a lovely little stadium, lovely little setup, and it's great to have them in the league. And what I said before is the best thing about the first division, in my opinion, is anyone can get into the playoffs. They're not like miles away from it, but they would have to go on a run, which I don't see happening. But anyone from like 5th, 6th can actually get up into the Premier Division if they try hard enough. So there's always something to play for, bar if you're really, really down there. But look, I can't really see going any other way bar a Galway win. Cove second league's defence, like you said, and Galway's quality is phenomenal. They're very exceptional. They're a full-time team. They got some great players and they're playing excellent football this season. It has to be a Galway win as much as I like Cove to win. But like what Philip said, Cove can be proud enough of themselves. They are where they are, and recruitment and retention of players is always going to be an issue for them unless they get investment, which probably won't happen. The last time they're in the Premier League, I think, was 07 or 08, which is a long, long time ago. It was a completely different story back then. They even went out of existence in terms of League of Ireland standards for a few years there and then came back. So fair play to everyone down there, but it's going to be a Galway win, in my opinion, I think.
Yeah, I think a comfortable Galway win. I'm going to go 3-0, to be fair. I think they might keep that good run going. We've got UCD and Wexford as well at Belfield, and this actually sounds like an exciting game because Wexford have the worst defensive record in the league. UCD have the second highest scores in the league behind Shelbourne and only 2 goals behind. You'd fancy goals in this one, Philip, at least, surely.
Big time, yeah, I suppose.
Yeah,
get your house on it.
Go down to the bookies there. 0-0 UCD Wexford.
Yeah. Look, to be honest with you, Keith, UCD, they have kind of stalled recently, but you think they'll have too much quality for Wexford. Just the quality of, let's be honest, bar Shelbourne squad, I think I'd take UCD squad over the rest of the squads in the league, Look, as we said, they've been on a bit of a poor run recently, but as the quality is just there to see in terms of when you put them up player to player against this Wexford side. There's not really too much else to say about this game other than I think it's going to be a really high scoring game, maybe 4 or 5 goals in it, to be honest with you, and I can't see Wexford getting any of them, to be honest.
Yeah, I suppose that's similar teams in terms of their age, but UCD have more experience. They're more experienced players, like they played last season, etc. But Wexford do have some exciting players in the forward division, at least. My kind of suggestion to Wexford would be let them play, because you've got the likes of Kyle Robinson, Jack Moylan now in there as well, even Jack Doherty in the middle of the park as well. So they've got players who can play football. So look, develop, I suppose, the best thing they can do, but they could surprise a few here as well.
That's the thing, Wexford are going to be always playing pressure free. No one's going to expect them to win, so they can really go anywhere and express themselves and try and play football the right way, if you want to call it that, and go down there and try and get a few goals. The pressure is going to be on UCD. They're the second highest scorers, like you said. They have a few standout players that I'm sure everyone's aware of. They've always had a good team. They always produce lots of players, and for a college team, they're always pretty acceptable. For a college team, they're always pretty up there. I always like UCD. They always play very good football, but I think Wexford will put it up to them, but it's hard to see Wexford win. I think if we're always going to go with the other team, it probably will be UCD. And this is the game for UCD to turn their form around and really get a few more points in the board and get momentum going into the last part of the season. It will be a UCD win, I think. I think they could win 2 or 3-0, but wouldn't rule Wexford out of getting something or even nicking the goal here or there, having a good few bit of attacking displays on them.
I think they'll score, but they'll ultimately lose 3-1, in my opinion. The final game is Trinity United and Shelbourne, and even though Shelbourne are 11 points ahead of them in the table, I think this is an intriguing one, actually. Look, it'd be great, actually, for the league, to be honest, if Trinity could nick a win, and it'd be a serious statement, actually, if Trinity could win this match, Philip. I know they've done well so far, but if they could be the first team to beat Shelbourne, what a statement that would be.
Big time, yeah. And I suppose this is the game of the weekend in the first division, in my opinion. I just think the quality of both sides this season has been phenomenal. Phenomenal in 2 different cases, being that Treaty have just been so unbelievably unpredictable that they've put themselves in a position where they are, and nobody expected that. Nobody would have even thought at the start of the season that they'd be where they are. So that's their phenomenal case. But I suppose you look at Shelbourne and they've just, like a steam train, nothing is going to stop them in winning this title. The title's over, but it'd be a big statement, as you said, for Treaty to get a result here. Obviously coming off a big win in the derby there against Cork this last weekend, and I don't know, I can't see Shells losing this game, but I can't see Treaty losing it either because of how good they've been defensively this year. I've looked back on the goals against Cork. It was actually uncharacteristic to concede the way they did. I just think it was nothing that you would associate Treaty to be. Obviously, that could be just the fact that it was a derby, big game for them. Who knows? But they'll need to correct that if they want to get something out of this game. Shells, look, they've been motoring on the past few weeks. They have been, and they're either beating teams comfortably or they're doing it 1-0 the scrappy way, and looking comfortable, though, in the scrappy ways that they're winning games. So I'm gonna go a draw here, Keith, and I think I'm sticking my neck out saying that 4-3 because I think Shell's been brilliant. So I'm gonna go a score draw. I wouldn't be surprised if it was 2-2.
Yeah, it does. It must be. I suppose the hardest thing for Shelbourne management at the moment is, I suppose, keeping the players' feet on the ground, because it's easy to get a bit carried away when you're in that position. It seems very easy. How do you see this one going?
Yeah, look, like what Philip said there, I think Treaty have been excellent defensively this season, and they've really surprised everyone, especially myself. And I've said it before, I'm delighted with where they are. And Tommy Barrett's doing an absolute excellent job where he is, and he brought in some really good players that have a really good team about them, and they're a real team that plays together and plays for each other,
Exactly,
which is very refreshing. I think that's kind of separates them a bit from other teams in the league, where Shelbourne have a bit more individuals that kind of nick games and can nick wins and come up with that moment of brilliance to get you a goal, which is important too. But I think Treaty will give them a real game this season. I think they'll give them a real game, but I do think it'll be a draw as well. I think it has a draw written all over it. Like Shelbourne, they've scored so many goals this season and really are unstoppable in Division 1 and have an excellent squad. But Treaty, they'll be looking at this thinking, well, why can't we give them a game? Why can't we go and try and get a win? Or why can't we get a draw at least? So I think that's going to be a 1-1 draw for me, because they're both excellently defensively as well. So 1-1 draw for me.
Interesting. It's a full house. I'm going for a draw as well.
Oh, no.
So Shelbourne are definitely going to win now.
Yeah. Someone has to win it. I was waiting for it.
We leave it there. Subscribe if you're new. Hit your bell notification button. What else? Like the video. Comment below. Thanks a million, guys. Brilliant stuff.
Cheers, Keith.